There are many different ideas about what God is, or a God, or the gods, or whatever. And different people have different ideas. So I'm an atheist, so I don't have one. So that's what I think God is. Nothing. But if you were to ask a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, they would tell you that God is a personal being who, in some capacity, plans and judges and answers prayers and performs miracles and so on. But if you were to ask someone like Spinoza, he would say that God is something different to that. God is identical to nature itself, but not nature. Not nature in the narrow sense of trees and animals, but the entire infinite reality that exists. So a pretty simple formula, I suppose you could put it, for his view is that God equals nature equals the one infinite substance. So at the core of this idea is that there is only one ultimate reality, which Spinoza calls God or nature. And everything else, people, planets, thoughts, bodies, emotions, whatever, none of that is separate from nature, from God, or whatever you want to call it, but is instead is a like a mode or an expression of that one reality. So in this idea, God is not a creator standing outside of the universe. God is the immanent cause of all things, meaning God exists within everything as the underlying reality of it. So this makes Spinoza quite different from the sort of Abrahamic beliefs, for example, because, as I say, the God isn't a personal God with any sort of intention or preference. There's no divine reward or punishment. There's no miracles as violations of nature, because, and this is important, because nature's laws are God's necessary expression. And within this system, there's no free will in the usual sense, either for humans or for God, because everything follows from natural necessity. So why does Spinoza even call it God? Well, that's largely because this one infinite reality that he describes is eternal, it's self-caused, it's infinite, it's fundamental, and it is, in Spinoza's opinion, worthy of intellectual love and reverence. So his God is more like the rational structure of all existence than it is some sort of dude with a big beard sitting on a cloud. So this, for Spinoza, changes also what spirituality means, because for Spinoza, the highest form of religious life is not worship or obedience, but understanding. So the more a person understands their reality and their place in it, the more free and peaceful they become. And he calls the highest state the intellectual love of God, a deep joy that comes from seeing yourself as part of the whole. So Albert Einstein quite famously said that he believed in Spinoza's God, meaning a God revealed in the harmony of what exists, not a God concerned with human affairs. So to sum it up, and its sort of difference to like a traditional sort of Abrahamic God, is that the Abrahamic God is like this. It's a bloke, right? It's a person like creator, essentially, that sits outside of the world in this case being, all of time and space. Whereas Spinoza's God is the infinite necessary reality of which the world is an expression. So there is one thing to note, I think, that's worthy of stopping on for a moment, is that people debate whether Spinoza is best called a pantheist, which just means that God is everything, or something close to a pantheist or a natural monist, but pantheist is the usual label. Now, the reason I say this is an important thing to stop on is because there's a fair amount of debate on that, and I actually don't think it's a necessary debate, because I'm not sure that the categorization matters all that much. I'm pretty sure that's just, semantics, philosophers getting caught up in the weeds, as it were. So it's kind of nonsensical, that kind of debate, but there is a lot of it out there. Some of it's quite interesting, but it's largely pointless. So, but the core of the idea, Spinoza's God, is a really interesting idea, and it's worth contemplating, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. As with any concept of not just sort of theology and gods and whatnot, but also metaphysics in general, it's the usefulness is less in the actual message that's being conveyed, and more in the way that then gets you thinking. So these ideas, are whether they are correct or not, largely doesn't matter. The benefit of these ideas is the way that then encourages further thought in you, for you to come to your own conclusions, for you to see the world in a different way. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because I thought it was interesting. So there we go. Spinoza's God, explained by a rambling maniac on the internet. Have a good day.